Just 15 minutes from Venice, from those romantic canals and golden palaces, lies an island that no one talks about. A piece of land so burdened with horror, with so much suffering, that the Italian government simply locked it away. It is forbidden to set foot there. This is the story of Poveglia, the island that became a cemetery, and the cemetery that may have become something much, much worse. While Venice shone as the jewel of the Adriatic, Poveglia was its dark, sickly sister. It all began in the 14th century, when the Black Plague devoured Europe. Venice, a trading hub, was extremely vulnerable, and it needed a solution, a desperate and cruel solution. Poveglia was chosen as a lazaretto, a quarantine hospital. But it wasn't a place of healing. It was a warehouse for lost hopes. Ships carrying the sick, those suspected of plague, were diverted there. They were left on the island to live, or, in the vast majority of cases, to die. The plague passed, but Poveglia's fate was sealed. For centuries, every time a new epidemic emerged, cholera, smallpox, the island was reactivated. And what happened to the bodies? They could not be returned to Venice. The solution was macabre. The dead were burned in immense funeral pyres, and when space on the ground ran out, skeletal remains were incorporated into the foundations of new buildings. Legend has it, and the records are hazy here, that the soil of Poveglia is made up to 50% human ashes. 50%. It is estimated that over 160,000 souls lost their lives on that small patch of land, a number so monstrous that many historians question it. But the truth is, no one knows for sure. The count was the least of their concerns. In the early 20th century, the island gained a new chapter. A large building was erected, a psychiatric hospital, and it is here that the known history merges with pure nightmare. The story goes that the chief physician of this hospital was an obsessed man, obsessed with the human mind and with curing his patients at any cost. They say he conducted experiments, lobotomies with hammers and chisels, surgeries without anesthesia. At the top of a bell tower, a structure that still stands, he searched for the supposed seat of madness in the brain. The screams, they say, were drowned out by the sound of the tower's bell. Until one night, at the edge of his own sanity, the doctor began to be tormented by the ghosts of his victims. He began to see things, to hear voices, and, according to the legend, he climbed that same tower and jumped. The official version says he survived the fall, but was strangled to death by a phantasmal mist that rose from the ground before he could be rescued. The hospital closed. The island was abandoned, but the modern world failed to tame it. In the 2000s, the Italian government auctioned Poveglia, attempting to revitalize it. A family bought the island with plans to turn it into a hotel. The work began, and it stopped within days. Workers reported tools that disappeared, voices that called their names in the middle of the night, an oppressive feeling that they were not welcome. One of them, it is said, received 12 stitches on his face after being attacked by an invisible force. The family sold the island, taking a massive financial loss, and they never spoke of it again. So, is Poveglia truly haunted? Science says no. There is not a single piece of concrete proof. The mad doctor? His existence was never documented. The 160,000 dead? A probable historical exaggeration. The phantasmal mist? Pure legend. But here is the final twist, the real mystery. If none of it is true, why is access strictly forbidden? Why does such a valuable piece of land, just minutes from one of the world's most touristic cities, remain untouched and abandoned? Is it out of respect for the dead, or is it out of fear? Fear that some stories, some stains on history, are in the end too real to be disturbed. Poveglia remains there, silent, a ghost on Venice's horizon, a reminder that history has layers, some of brick and bone, others of shadow and fear. And perhaps the scariest part is not what we know, but what we can never confirm.